What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you about ChargePoint. I'm going to give you a good overview of the data points, technicals, what they are truly saying, and why currently it is up 12.07%. So I'm going to go over all of that. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So when it comes down to it going up, there is no tentative news, no SEC filings, nothing along those lines. It is just merely because of a analyst upgrade. So it does look like Bank of America did upgrade it to $14, which of course is fairly good. And better yet though, if you look at 𝗪𝗧𝗪, if I'm saying that right, of Bank of America, he does have a very good success rating. So 83%, which is fairly important because, for instance, looking at Christopher Souther, if I'm saying that right, who has a 22% success rating, a lot of people don't really pay too much attention to him versus Alex, who has a fairly good rating. But of course, that's just my own interpretation. I'm not a financial advisor. You guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But potentially also on a side note, it's kind of weird to see that Alex did give a rating basically a couple days prior to their earnings. So in case you guys do not know, on June the 1st, they are going to be having their earnings. That's going to be done after hours. So very interesting. Maybe it's correlated, a leak information. Who knows? That's kind of jumping to conclusions a little bit, but still, regardless of that, you do see that because of that analyst rating, a lot of people are getting into ChargePoint through options. So when it comes down to the options today, currently within the first 2 hours of the trading day, there's $5.22 million for calls being purchased versus 897,000. So clearly people are anticipating a very good continuation of a rally. And going back over here, historically, whenever ChargePoint does get over that 50-day moving average, generally it does go on a very fast and aggressive run up. Because of course, I think ChargePoint has a lot of speculation behind it, and the whole EV sector has been suppressed for so long, and there's been a lot of shorts. So I'll give you guys a quick overview of what they are doing right now. So currently they are returning 136.22 thousand shares right now. 19.05% of the free float's being shorted, and that works out to be almost 57 million shares. And cost to borrow average is currently 12.4%. And just to put that in perspective on what's actually been happening is this. So as you can see, based on this kind of line right here, it has been going down. So there is a small squeeze tentatively starting, and it actually did go from roughly around 15% short interest to around 24%. So it did go up pretty significantly over the last little bit, but because of the analyst rating, upcoming earnings, there's a lot of positivity that is happening. And as far as looking at this, so this is all the options chains for calls, this is all the strike prices, expiry dates, and based on this though, it does indicate that it might be around, as you can see, maybe around the 1150 potentially within the next couple of weeks. And of course, that's not really factoring in their upcoming earnings as well, because if that is true and their earnings are a home run, because June the 2nd, that is clearly the following Friday, the day after their earnings, it does kind of have some pretty good volume, more so around the $10.50, $13 range. There's a lot of different things going on here, but when it comes down to options, even for instance, the intraday options, it is just merely a sentiment. It does not move the stock price. So that's something that you just need to be very much aware of. But when it comes down to some points that you really need to watch for, with it being at $9.53, it is above this pivot. So currently between the P and the R1 on the fib levels. So 10.06 is the next big resistance and 9.23 is the next big support. So once again, that's just stuff for you to keep in mind. And it did go up so fast as well because stochastic is kind of considered a little bit more oversold still, but it's rebounding a little bit. You do have a nice bullish signal behind the scenes. A number of retail investors are getting in, which of course is fairly positive. As far as what big money is doing, there's only one transaction today on the secondary market, and that's for $146,000. That was a buy, and you can tell that based on the bid and the ask versus the price. And when it comes down to the dark pool, which of course the dark pool is very much linked to shorting and whatnot, only 3 transactions today, but it has been picking up over the last several days. So once again, let me know you guys' thoughts on ChargePoint and what is your take on their upcoming earnings. I did notice, for instance, looking at this. On a side note, if you're looking for a lot of good compiled information, analyst ratings, forecasts and whatnot, take a look at Interactive Brokers. I do have a link to them in the description below and also the comments. But when it comes down to earnings, in case you guys do not know, there are several different things people care about. There is earnings per share, revenue, and future guidance. Future guidance is basically what they are assuming is going to come for the rest of the year. But for instance, looking at revenue, currently there is 16 analysts that have given estimates, and they have a consensus of $128.04 million for revenue. But versus right here, it does look like there was only 14 around 4 weeks ago. So 2 analysts recently got on board, maybe correlated to the recent rating today, maybe. But of course, looking here, as far as earnings per share, there is 9 estimates done by analysts and a consensus of negative 17 cents. So again, that's just something to keep in mind. Based on this, if it does keep in line with the analyst expectations, they should be profitable in 2024. But of course, I am not a financial advisor. You guys always do your own due diligence. So let me know you guys' thoughts on all of this in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And actually, on a side note, do you think that this is going to hold, or do you think it's going to go higher? What is your take, for instance, on the upcoming earnings? Based on everything so far, it does show that a lot of companies are actually having surprisingly good earnings. So that might work out in its favor and potentially go maybe up to the $13 mark, which is what is kind of signaling based on the options. But once again, that's up to you guys to make that determination. With that said, I appreciate you guys watching. There is a couple days left to take advantage of this promo only for May. Link in the description below and also the comments. Sign up for a free account. You get 1 free stock. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So it is a complete no-brainer. Take advantage of that while you can. Link in the description below and also the comments. And without further ado, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on ChargePoint.